do a little bit of introductions so that we know who's who, and we get a little more comfortable with each other. So, Muchedzi, are you joining as the coordinator? Checking in.
Hi, Carl. Yes, I'm joining the session
Okay, as a coordinator or as a learner?
as a learner.
Oh, I see. Interesting, interesting. Okay, brilliant. I see you joining twice.
Yes, my laptop is giving me tough time, so I'm trying to log in with my phone.
Okay, maybe just log out on one.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself. A few of our colleagues today that have attended know who I am. And then the rest of us are probably unfamiliar with who I am and what I do. So we have Lucky that's with us. Okay. Good morning, Lucky. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I am great. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. We are happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Just in time for introductions.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So my name is Carl Tischlauser, and I am the head of academics for the Information Rooms organization. I'm also a passionate and avid learner myself. I love everything to do with learning and the process and all of that. I love making students feel uncomfortable as they go through these tough journeys. It's very important to me that we create a learner experience that is remarkable, memorable, and life-changing. So, that's what we try to do at the Information Rooms organization. And before we kickstart the session today, this induction session, I want to know a little bit about our attendees today. I want to know who you are and what do you hope to get out of this experience. Okay, and I'm gonna start with Lucky because you were a little late. So, if you can just unmute yourself and speak to me, tell me who you are, what do you hope to get out of this learning experience?
it's it's a little bit difficult because I just arrived now.
Yeah,
But
we're just starting, so don't feel too pressured.
okay. Nevertheless, I'm Shivambulaki, um, working for CET based in Richi Town. So basically, I would like to learn a lot from the, operating, the basic operating skills, if I'm not mistaken.
This
Uh,
qualification,
yes,
this is business advisory.
but yeah, business advice. Because uh, in life, I actually want to be based more in business world, because I believe that in business world is where you have to establish yourself, where you have to get to employ people. So actually, I have a mandate in my life to employ many people. That's why I have to choose this kind of an enrollment or maybe course
Okay,
to. So
interesting.
that's
What do you do at the CT? What's your current profession?
lecturer.
Lecture. What do you lecture?
I'm lecturing commercial subjects and level 4.
Okay, this should be quite easy for you then, because business advisory is a lot in that. It's in the business space. It's in commerce, so it should be quite easy
Uh,
for you.
yeah,
Okay,
thank you, sir. That's
awesome.
what I'm gonna do actually with this qualification. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, let's hear from S. Jacobs. You just joined, and I caught you. So let us hear from you. So what we're doing is we're introducing ourselves, telling the rest of the group who we are, and what do we hope to get out of this experience. Okay, S. Jacobs, you're still muted. Can you exit on one of the devices, or you're echoing a lot? Jacobs, are you sitting with someone else?
Oh yeah, I'm representing Ms. Jacobs here, because currently now she's still attending another meeting at the moment.
Okay, so she joined this one, but she's not in this one.
Not on this one, but I am her representative.
No, there's no representatives. You know, she must attend personally.
So must I go call her now? Because she was still busy doing something at the moment. So.
Yeah, no, she must attend. Okay, that's we don't have people representing us. You know, this is not a court hearing. This is a class session.
They give me a moment, then I'll go
Okay.
call her.
Thanks. Okay, can I please hear from Nicolene Benson?
And once again, hi, Carl. And mine is just to broaden my knowledge in business as advisory, because currently I have
Sorry,
and
go for it,
currently
Nicolene.
okay, and currently I have I've studied financial management, and I think it goes hand in hand, and business and financial management and business advisory would go hand in hand. So basically it would, as I say, I just expect to broaden my knowledge in the business field as well.
It's brilliant. I think that you'll find that module 3 is going to be up your alleyway because it actually delves into the financial component of the qualification, and you're required to actually do financial ratios and you just need to do those analyses and all of that. I think you'll like that.
Okay, then thanks.
That's really good. I like that you're going to try and link your qualifications. That's very smart.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Nicolene. Can I hear from Cordelia? Okay, Cordelia Beans, can we hear from you?
Good morning, colleagues. So, sir, was just getting myself together. Ish, I'm still finding myself.
No problem.
What was the question again?
So, I just want a little bit of an introduction to the group. So tell us who you are and what you hope to get out of this experience.
My name is Cordelia Beans, colleagues. What I need to gain more experience on this business is what business advice, or what is this?
Business advisory.
Yeah, business advisor. Yeah, I want to know to know deeper about it. To know also the unit standard that we're gonna use, and I think our actually I'm interested to know the credits.
Okay.
Also, how many credits? I need clarity on the credits, and how many modules are we gonna do, and how many unit standards will be there.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You should get a lot of that info in today's session.
Okay.
Okay. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, I can see a few more of our colleagues have joined. Okay, I'm gonna stress this because a lot of us have joined late, but we need to make sure that we join at the correct time. Joining 15 minutes late is not going to be acceptable. Okay, you'll get in trouble for it. Okay, so let's hear from Kolisiwa. Lucas.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Koliswa Lucas, and I did some research when coming to business advisory, but I don't have a clear understanding to it. So, going forward, I'd like to learn more and see where I go from there.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad you did some research beforehand. Let's see if it if it meets up to your expectations.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. Simply Cert, I believe it's Tumelo.
Hi, colleagues. Hi, Carl. My name is Tumelo Dichabe. I've been a business advisor for the past 7 years at a multinational NGO called TechnoServe. However, there wasn't a structure. We had to find our way and learn and literally piggyback on the knowledge that you would have gathered all these other years in different roles. So what I'm looking forward to in these sessions or in this qualification is it's a bit more structure, it's a bit more processes and procedures that go into business advisory. I think that's the one thing that I've had to find my way. I had to do a lot of research all these years to find the best ways or best practices of giving business advice. I'm mentoring a lot of mentees, business mentees, entrepreneurs. I think about 30, 40 over the last
Wow.
5, 6 years. So I've refined what method I learned or I picked up and piggybacking on the books I've read, the knowledge I've gathered. So I think I'm looking more for a proper structure that will then basically put everything that I've learned all these years into a system that's easily replicable and effective. Yeah.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing is you want like a a system that you can use to better structure your approach. But I think what you're going to find in this qualification is that business advisory, you'll never have a one size fits all, or you'll never have an all-in-one solution for everything. You'll find that
Mhm.
every scenario requires different problem-solving skills, different capabilities, different tools, different thinking. But what you will be able to do in this process is formalize your status or your job as a business advisor. You can say, yes, I'm a business advisor and I have these qualifications to support my position in
Approach, yeah.
this role. So I think that that's, that might be of value to you. And I also I love the qualification. I've done a lot of work on it to make it a lot more challenging. Yeah, so I feel bad for some of us, but you'll see in module 2 in particular, it's quite challenging. But what you'll see is I've tried to literally force you to analyze different scenarios, different situations, and apply those skills to draw out real results, to have meaningful impact on the scenario that we discuss in the different modules. So yeah, that's very interesting. Thanks, Tumelo. I really appreciate that.
Perfect.
Okay, so then I see that we have a lot of familiar names. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Let me see. So we've heard from S. Jacobs. So Roshuma, a lot of us do know who you are, but for those who don't, can you maybe give us a little bit of an intro and then also just tell us what you hope to get out of this qualification? And before you unmute yourself, can everyone around Roshuma just mute yourself and put the volume down because it's going to echo if you guys are sitting in the same space. Okay. See.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you, sir?
All good. I heard you had a representative attending with you, for you.
Yes, but I was on another meeting, so then I asked him to represent me. But it's fine that I can do. I can do now because I'm back. I'm Cynthia Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm interested of this training because I did not even have a training since I'm working here. So this is going to be for me a left up for myself, not
Okay.
to train and to have knowledge of the business and everything. So I appreciate that for you guys to give us the chance to do that. Really,
Brilliant. Happy.
really, really, I'm happy.
So then the only thing we ask is that you capitalize on it fully, so don't So you take advantage of the opportunity. Let's not waste it or squander it.
Really, I'm taking advantage of it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna mute you. You can also put the camera off. We don't, I'd rather have you save your bandwidth. Okay, then I see someone else that's joined. NIK, Nick. You can just introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My
Good
name is
morning.
Nikelo Antlati. My name is Nikelo Antlati. Well, I joined this program because I've been unemployed for a long time, and I thought maybe I'm interested in starting my own business and managing it because of I opened something small at home. So I'm willing to I want to expand, so I'm willing to learn more about business. Thank
Brilliant.
you.
I think this will help you a lot. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so then I'm just going to speak to the rest of the group. So there are certain individuals. So for example, you'll see that we have Melissa, we have Muchetsi, we have Roshuma, and we have Takalani. These are all internal IRG staff members who are also interested in the program. I'm not sure if any of them want to introduce themselves or if they want to just let you know who they are. Let's see. Maybe we can start with Taki. Okay, doesn't seem like we are getting any response. Okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I'm just gonna keep things going. Okay, and then there's one more person that I'd like to introduce themselves. So we have Brian. So Brian is gonna be the lead facilitator on this program. So he's gonna be your go-to guy. I'm just assisting with the induction because I know the qualifications so well. Brian's also got quite a bit of experience with it, but I like to introduce the program because a lot of the material, the development comes from me. And how we present it and deliver it, all of that will come from me, but Brian will be, at the forefront of all of it. Brian, would you like to introduce yourself to the learners?
Hello, everybody. I am Brian, and I'm going to be your lead facilitator for this program. And I'm excited to be your facilitator. I think from starting from tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really excited to be meeting the whole team. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Brian. Okay, so now that we've done that, can we just all, if you look on your screen, you'll see that there's a react button. Okay, I want you to all hit the button and then press applaud. Okay, or give yourself an applause so that we can celebrate the fact that you've made it, that you're on the program, and that today is the day that you embark on a real academic journey. Today's the day that we begin. Okay. So I like to celebrate the start and I like to celebrate the end. It's a major commitment, and we're all, joining, we're all signing up to do this. The other reason why I like using or letting learners know where this button is that they must use it throughout the sessions. So if you ever want to, compliment your facilitator or they're saying something you like, don't be shy. Actually use the react button, and let them know that the thing that they're saying is connecting to you and what you think and your reality and your world. Okay. With that being said, with the intro part, which took so long, I'm going to commence. Let me go to the next slide. Okay. So, as I've mentioned before, this is an educational journey, and I always like to kickstart educational journeys with the same quote. I've been doing this for the last few months now, with the same quote. So, Malcolm X said that education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And I love the quote because it literally captures the idea that the things we do today can alter the course of tomorrow. We are fully in control of our futures, and the only limitation is how much we decide to do today. So if you commit to the program and you lean into it, and you're doing all your assignments, you're communicating with others, you're advising others, and you're fully invested, you'll get the most out of this qualification. But if you're someone who's just going to do the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum tomorrow. It's literally as simple as that. What you put in is what you'll get out. And that's why I always encourage learners to lean into the experience. Be someone who raises your hand first in class, asks all the questions, puts the facilitator on the spot. It's perfectly fine. As long as you know that this is your journey and you will get as much as you want out of it. If you want to get the bare minimum, you'll get the bare minimum. If you want to get 150% and more, then you can reach for it and it's yours. Okay. And this journey it's literally your responsibility. It's your baby. You must take care of it. Okay, we'll give you the material, we'll give you the grades, we'll give you all the resources, but in terms of what you do with it, that's up to you. So this qualification doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you'll get a job or you earn the biggest salary. No, no, no. It's what you do with it that really matters. Okay. Okay, so just a little bit of a welcome note to always include this. So I hope you're ready to master the skill of business advising. And we're going to try and make the content as engaging, and we'll have all sorts of activities and discussions that you're required to do. And then I also hope that you connect with each other. I hope that before today ends, you start creating a WhatsApp group where you can, start networking with each other. It's very important that you take advantage of the relationships you have in these online classes. And then also, if you have any questions, if you have anything you need help with, just drop us an email. We're quite responsive. Between Brian and myself, we're always checking emails, trying to deal with different student queries. I think Brian would be better to respond as he is the lead facilitator. And then you'll see that we'll try and shift things around so that you'll get a diversified experience. You won't just hear from one facilitator all the time. But yeah, we'll talk about that a bit more in the next few slides. Okay. Now, a bit more about the Information Rims organization. So, the ROG vision, or let me start the mission. So our mission is to deliver top-tier education globally. Okay, we want to start empowering individuals for success and the knowledge economy. And we talk about the knowledge economy. We talk about the world of knowledge. The knowledge keeps flowing at a fast, high-paced rate. And we want to start contributing to that. And the way we do that is by delivering programs to see how you perform and how we can improve. And then we write papers about that. And that paper adds value to other organizations that are trying to do things similarly. You'll see that there are also certain modules that literally touch on research. And I typically lecture that one because I am a research lecturer. So it makes sense that I do that. Okay. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to deliver top tier education globally. When we're starting at home, South Africa, African context, and then we're going to broaden out. We're going to, start reaching out to different continents, different countries, and start creating these classes where we have a diverse group of people. I mean, today in the class alone, we have quite a bit of diversity in the class. We all come from different areas, different backgrounds, different work experiences, and all of that will contribute to what we get out of the classes. Okay, our vision is to lead in shaping the future of learning. We want to start setting the standard for excellence in private higher education. And this is a big vision. And we made it big on purpose so that we can, reach for the stars. And that's just how we approach it. Make it big and keep adding to it. We know that this vision is not something you're going to attain immediately, but over years and years of building, developing relationships, having more experience with learners, we're slowly getting there. Okay. Our aim is to remain at the forefront of the knowledge economy. So we have a lot of individuals within the organization that do research, that are doing masters, doctorates, that are, literally just contributing to the body of knowledge. And we want to ensure that our education is cutting edge and globally relevant. So you'll see a lot of the stuff we use is what is seen or is what is used on a global scale already. So we're trying to remain at the forefront in that regard. Okay, so that is just the RG vision and mission, just a little bit of insight into who we are and what we do. If you don't know, now you do. I want to talk about the purpose of this qualification. So the purpose of this qualification is at the forefront to empower business leaders. And when we empower business leaders, we talk about a lot of topics. There's business leadership, there's your decision making, there's your critical thinking abilities. There are so many different things. But in business leadership, we're looking at leadership traits. Okay. Then we want to foster strategic decision making. So we want to think about the process of making decisions. What goes into taking decisions? What are the outcomes when we make certain decisions? Are there models we can use to develop and design our decision making? There are so many different areas you can tackle when you make decisions in a business. And decisions are not always made. Sometimes they're taken. There's a difference between making and taking a decision that is also explored in quite a bit of depth and detail. Okay. We want to cultivate innovation and adaptability. Now, one of the things I always advocate is we live in a world that is very volatile, it's very uncertain. Okay. We want learners who go through this program to be innovative enough to come up with quick solutions to deal with the world that's so volatile, so uncertain. We want learners to be able to adapt to different scenarios, different situations. We also want learners to be able to take solutions from one industry and apply it in a different scenario and get it to work. Okay. I also I try to make sure we provide a little bit of a global perspective to learners. We try to global and African, but a lot of the stuff we demonstrate is more global. The models, the tools, a lot of those are either developed in America or in the UK. There are certain ones that come from Japan. Some of them we know very well, other ones will be very new. We also like to facilitate networking and collaboration. So remember, I told you, hopefully by the end of today's session, you've created a WhatsApp group, you're connecting with each other, you're sharing ideas, you start dealing with, these modules that will pop up and how you're going to approach them. And then finally, we want to promote excellence in leadership. Okay, we want to set the standard and say that this is the minimum standard for leadership, and it will be very high. And those who don't operate at that standard cannot consider themselves a leader. And that's what we're trying to do. That's the purpose of this BA Level 6 program. Okay, let us look at the program outline. So you'll see that in Module 1, we'll look at workplace wellness, so integrating HIV and AIDS policies and ethical professionalism. So you'll see that in this module, we're going to look at different policies and what it takes to build a policy. And the reason why they used HIV and AIDS is because it's still quite a prevalent topic. It is still a hot topic in the South African context. And a lot of businesses have to build policies to accommodate that. And typically in the process of building a policy, you need to do a little bit of analysis. And this is where your business advisory comes in, because your business advisor will look at the business and look at what the context is, what are the requirements in that given environment, and then provide that the results of the needs analysis, and then build the policy around that. So that's what that module 1 is all about. Okay. In module 2, you look at strategic business planning, integrating organizational analysis with research principles. And this is where I'll come in and I'll lecture the session for you. Because of that research principles, that combination of making business, developing strategies for business and then linking it to research. Okay, there's so many things that you can talk about in research principles. I really just give you an overview. I give you the basics, and then I link it to strategic business development or business planning. And what you'll see that research is not as simple as I'm gonna go look at this area and I'm gonna write about what I found. There are so many things that can influence the outcome of your research that you want to make sure that you know exactly what you want to do before you go and you go and do the research, so that you can get an outcome that actually contributes to your strategic business planning. Okay, sometimes you'll go and you'll do your research and you get to the end and you get an answer and you're like, this doesn't really fit in with the strategic planning that we want to do with the business. And that is something I want you to avoid doing. I want you to focus on, spending your time wisely so that it's not wasted, nothing is lost. Okay. Module 3 is all about financial analysis and accounting fundamentals in business management. So what you're going to see a lot of in module 3 is you're going to do the financial ratios. Is there anyone in our group today that knows what the financial ratios are? There's a lot of them. You just need to know what it is and give me an example. Does anyone know? You can raise your hand. No one knows? Okay, Lucky.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the opportunity again. I think I once did the ratios. I think the ratios are from when you have prepared your adjustment. After preparing your adjustment, is that actually when preparing the financial statements, income statement, balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. So there are some ratios. I'll give it an example like asset test ratio, asset
Yeah,
test ratio, or maybe you can talk about maybe profit and sales ratio. Yeah, those are the kind of the ratios that we may
100%.
find. Sometimes we can find an acid test ratios. Those are the kind of examples that I might give. But it's after when you have prepared the financial statement.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you. So like you're 100% correct. You always do it after you've prepared the financial statements because the financial statements give you the figures that you use to do the ratios. Okay. So I'll give you an example. The number one go-to ratio is the current ratio. And the current ratio, you take your current assets and you divide it by current liabilities. So if you remember, assets are things we own, liabilities are things that is debt, money we owe. So when you do that, you work out whether you have enough things to sell if the business fails and you need to pay your debt. So you're working out liquidity, which is very important. Then when we look at asset test ratio, it's an improved version of the current ratio because you remove inventories, you remove things, you kind of you only consider items that are really liquid. Okay, inventory is not always liquid. Or it's often sold and it's gotten rid of quickly, so it's not really worth considering. So your asset test ratio is a more realistic reflection on an organization's financial health. But what we want to do with this module is we want to do the different ratios and we want to use that to determine whether a business is in good health or in poor health. And then also you will be required to develop a income statement, a balance sheet, and all the other basic accounting fundamentals will come into there. Okay. Then module 4 is all about strategic alignment and performance management for business optimization. So we're trying to make sure that our strategy aligns to our KPIs. We all know what a KPI is, right? It's a key performance indicator. And key performance indicators are used to manage performance of individuals in a business. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that that alignment between the KPI and the the strategy of the business is optimized so that you're not wasting time. You don't have employees working on things that are not contributing to the bigger vision, the bigger mission, the bigger goal. Okay. Module 5 is about legal compliance and human resource essentials for modern business. So it's a little bit of the law side and also dabbles in HR, which is nice. And then we talk about it in the context of modern business operations. So we might look at things such as COVID and remote working, online meetings, conduct in those contexts. And then we'll look at new legislation that affects what businesses do. It just many different things come into there, but it's mostly legal compliance and then the HR essentials for modern business. Okay. Module 6 is about strategic marketing management from planning to implementation. So it's literally a deep dive into marketing and strategic marketing for businesses. How can we use business advisory to do marketing in an effective manner? Okay, module 7 is about integrated maintenance management and team development in manufacturing operations. Okay, now with this one, I don't focus too much on the manufacturing operations. That's in the unit standard, so it does have to be mentioned and dealt with. But we mostly focus on team development, so building teams, and we look at maintenance management, so maintenance plans. So it's quite a bit of there's a few things in there, but when you do the module, you'll see that it makes sense and that it kind of links together in a weird, unique way. Okay, so these are the different modules. We're going to look at how we can approach these different modules from a business advisory perspective, from a business advisory lens. Okay, right at the end, you'll have what is called a FISA, which is the final integrated summative. It is the final bit of work you'll do for this qualification before you're exited. And the process of being exited will be explained in the next slide. In the next few slides, my apologies. So I want to just tell you what a formative is. So formatives are assessments designed for ongoing feedback and learning support. So often formatives are where you can make a few more mistakes. We're a lot more forgiving when we mark. It's used to gauge understanding and identify areas for improvement. It's also graded on a scale of competent or not yet competent. So how it works is we'll grade your work, and then based on how well you've done, we will either determine you competent or not yet competent. We try not to make it percentage based, but because you're doing the online version of the qualification, it's going to be percentage based. Okay. But we are a lot more forgiving with mistakes when we mark and whatnot. Okay. And then your formative, it allows for a continuous cycle of learning and improvement. So you're allowed to, make mistakes as long as you see where you went wrong and you try to alter that when you do your summatives so that it's not made again. And then also it's used to guide, in terms of how we teach, and it gives you a feel in terms of how this module is going to run, because every module is different and there's different content. There's going to be different things you have to do. Your formatives gives you a taste before you get to the summative. And in some cases that the formative, we put the bulk of the work in the formative so that we limit the amount of mistakes you can make in the summative. That's what we do there. And then you'll see that your formative is used to nurture student growth and development throughout the course. Okay. Your summative is your final assessment, and it measures the overall achievement. So it's marked on a percentage basis of 75% or higher. So you need to get 75 or more to be competent. It's often used to evaluate your mastery of the course and the learning objectives. It's a culmination of the learning and knowledge demonstration. So it's literally where you present what you've learned in the formative, what you've learned in the class, what you've learned by doing your own research and evaluation out there on what's existing. Again, often provides a snapshot of your performance. So at the end of the course, we can look at the results you got on the summatives, and we can say you're competent based on that. And literally, it also informs whether you can progress, through the qualification and whether you can progress to certification at the end. Okay. We also have workplace activities. So these are practical implementations of in a real world setting. So you are required to provide, examples of how you would apply or how you have applied a lot of the discussions or the concepts that fall in each of the modules. So I'll give you an example. In module 1, you're required to do a policy, develop a policy. If you have developed a policy in the past, you can attach that developed policy as proof that you've done it. If you haven't done it, you'll have to do it from scratch. Okay. If you don't want to do it from scratch, you can also find an example that demonstrates your understanding of what a policy is that is also typically acceptable. As long as it's presented well, we'll normally accept it and it makes sense to us as markers. Okay. We also focus on applying knowledge to workplace scenarios. So see in module 3, for example, we have a simulation where you're required to do a little bit of accounting. Okay, where you're literally putting things in a journal. You're completing the sub journals and you grade it on. Well, you don't really grade it on it, but we do check to see where you've placed things, and if you get majority of them right, we give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, remember that your workplace activities are not graded, but you're assessed, based on whether there's a logical link between what you've provided and the evidence requirements. Okay, it is an opportunity for skills development and experiential learning. And it also allows us to bridge a gap, between the theory and the practice so that you get an holistic understanding of what the module is about and what business advisory is about. Okay. You have submission attempts, so you have first, second, and third. You'll see that they're there. Your first submission is an opportunity to demonstrate understanding. Okay, you're aiming for competency, and you'll always receive feedback for improvement, regardless of how well you do. The second attempt is your second chance at success, and you can always reflect on what you've done in the first attempt. Okay, if you've received more than 75 on anything you've submitted, you don't have to redo it. Okay, you can move on to the next thing. A lot of students, what they do is they'll get 79, and then they'll ask me, Carl, can I adjust this question? Can I change this, and will you remark it? I think it is unfair on the markers. If you failed, so if you get less than 75, so you got 70%, then yes, then you can go through all the questions and you can redo it and you can up your mark. But if you've gotten the 75 or higher, move on to the next thing so that the markers can focus on other learners who haven't received grades yet. Okay, keep in mind also that at all times of marking, our team, we're working at it with a high volume of learners. So if you make the marker work hard by having them remark your stuff that you're unhappy with, then it literally takes away from the next learner. So you're just taking away from someone else's experience. So consider that. Be considerate in that regard. Okay. Your third attempt is your final opportunity to pass. So if you don't pass after 3 attempts, you will be deemed NYC, which is not yet competent. And you can still continue the program. You can go all the way to the end. And then you'll just get a statement of results for the unit standards that you have successfully completed. Okay. How often do we get learners that fail by that have reached this situation where they failed 3 times and they're not getting the full qualification? It doesn't happen often. I'll tell you honestly. It's only happened to learners who are not willing to do the work, or learners who drop off the program. Okay, but if you're engaged, you're doing the work, it should be fine. You'll probably get it right by the second attempt. Okay. Then we talk a bit more about the workplace projects. So you'll see that our workplace projects is a practical area where we deal with the formative and summative content. Your workplace projects are separate, so you'll see that in each module you have a workbook, you have a workplace, and you have a summative, and then you also have log sheets. So your log sheets are important because it's where you keep record of everything you've done. So if you've written for the workbook, you've spent 2 hours writing, you must document it in the log sheet. If you've spent 20 minutes researching what business advisory is, document it in the log sheet, because that log sheet will be used as evidence, supporting evidence to show that you've spent the notional hours doing what you're supposed to do to get the qualification. Okay. Let's keep going. So here's just a bit more of an overview of the log sheets. So it's used to provide evidence of learning activity. So we use it to support notional hours. So we will provide service to CETA with registers, with the log sheets, with any kind of evidence. The portfolio itself that you're building is also evidence to show that you spent the time doing the work. So it's very important that you make sure you complete log sheets. If a log sheet is missing from a particular workplace activity project, just comment that, say that the log sheet's not here. I want to add to what I've done, and then we'll make sure that we put it in there. Sometimes it does happen that it cuts out at the end. Okay. Let us keep going. So then we talk about notional hours. So the measure of notional hours is that for every credit in a qualification, you need to spend 10 hours or more working. Okay, that's a lot of time. That is a lot. So every credit, so 1 credit, this qualification, I believe it has, let me confirm. I'll just open it up and I'll just show you exactly how much is in it. I don't want to get the figure wrong. We have so many qualifications, so I often, make mistakes when I talk about how many credits are in a qualification. Okay, so let me just open, let me see. I think I'll find it here. Okay, so it's literally, this is the induction document. It will have yes, you see there's 138 credits, which 138 times 10, that's 13,800 hours is what they say you need to spend doing the qualification. Do we all agree that that's a lot? Yeah, just give me a thumbs up if you agree it's a lot. Yeah, okay, I see we're reacting. That's good. Yeah, so then what we do is we use our log sheets, we use the recordings of the sessions that you come to class, we use registers, and we use the portfolio to support the idea that you spend the 13,800 hours in class or doing your work. So it's very important that you meet this requirement. So far we've exited learners with our current approach and it's been very successful. So we'll keep doing it. And we'll do what works so that we can ensure that you get your qualification at the end of the program. Okay, it's very important that when class is scheduled, you attend and you make sure that you're on time. Okay, very important. I know that sometimes things happen when things are not going your way. You're going to be late. You're going to miss the session. You need to communicate via email. Okay, you need to make sure that you get excused from the class. Okay, it's inappropriate to miss the class and not communicate that you're going to miss it. Okay, we're not going to help you if you're not going to help us. Okay, we remember when you build a portfolio, it's not just one person who does the work. It's not just the learner. It's the learner, it's the facilitator, it's the coordinator. We all work together to build these portfolios. So you must make sure that you attend the classes, you're on time, you're doing your part, so that your facilitator, your coordinator, the markers, they can all do what they're supposed to do. Okay. And then also, what I always encourage learners to do, especially because this is level 6, you're going to be required to do some research. Okay, make sure you're spending time researching the different concepts and you're keeping record of your research activities so that you can use it to support your notional hours. Okay. There are assessment tasks. So remember your formatives, your summatives, that's what we're referring to. There are also some research puzzles. So when you look at your workplace activities for module 2, you're required to write a little bit of a research paper, a very minor one, not a big one. And that's where you can be creative. You can choose the problem or the puzzle you want to look at, and you can come up with your own kind of paper. And it is used as supporting evidence, but you must also keep record of that in your logbooks. Okay. So yeah, the responsibilities of the learners. You are required to submit work, so you must submit work on the deadlines. If you're going to miss a deadline, we must communicate. So you must send an email, let us know that you're going to be delayed, and ask for an extension. It's very important that you ask for extension. Otherwise, we will see that you're late and you will be penalized. Okay. You must also ensure that all submissions meet specific requirements and quality standards. So don't just submit anything, please. If you do that, it will you waste the time of the marker. And if we have to tell you to fix things, it's really we could be spending time marking someone else's work. So just be considerate in that regard. And where you're not sure about it, just ask, seek clarification. Ask questions if you're not sure. It does happen. The system, the platform we use is actually quite amazing because you can contact me or the facilitator at any moment or any point on the platform. I'll show you, just go at Carl, my name will pop up, and then I'll get an email of your issue, your complaint, your challenge. You can also do the same with Brian. So you can go at Brian, his name will pop up, you can select it, and you can literally ask him there in your work, what should you do in that specific area or with regards to a specific question. Okay. There are more, so you must make sure you attend the classes. You must be punctual. So again, being on time is very important. I can see that we've had 2 people that have joined now. I can't admit the one individual, but you must make sure that you're on time. It's very important. Time management, okay? The classes are not going to take the whole day. We've actually tried to shorten them, make sure that they're a maximum of 2 hours a session. And we're not doing multiple days. We're doing, it will be at most 2 sessions a month. So it's not like we're taking a whole week so we can do training and we can, utilize all your time. We've tried to optimize our process so that you get the benefit. You have more time to work on your formatives, your summatives, and actually to do work that you have to do. Okay. So if you're gonna have trouble, notify us. Let us know that you're gonna have, you're not gonna be able to attend, or you're gonna be delayed, or you're gonna be late. Let us know what the situation is. And then always actively participate in class discussions. Okay, remember that these sessions are not for me, it's not for the facilitator, it's really for you. That's the only reason why we're doing it, is so that you can have this experience. Okay, it only works if you participate in the discussions, if you're you're here to do this. If you're just gonna sit and listen, or you're gonna join the class and walk away, then there's no point in doing it. Okay, I need like full commitment, that we're gonna lean into the learning experience. Okay. And then we need engagement. So you need to literally, as I said, participate in the classes, be proactive in the learning, always look for new resources. Don't think that what we share in the classes is everything that exists in the world. That is really not a good way of looking at it. Remember that we just provide the tip of the iceberg. And if you dig deeper, you'll see that there's a world of knowledge. There's a world of experts that can share their perspectives, their opinions, their ideas, and their insights that can really guide you and help you. And you can bring it back, and you can, we can build discussions off of them. We can have academic debates. I always love those. Yeah, that's what we want you to do. That's part of the responsibility of the learner. And then also communicate professionally. I had to put this in because sometimes students don't always communicate professionally. They can be quite disrespectful. If you're disrespectful to your instructors or even your fellow classmates, it does set a negative precedent. It creates a negative environment. We don't want that. We want to create an environment where we're all growing, we're constructively building off of each other, and that's what it should be like. Okay, it shouldn't be this thing where we berate each other, we break each other down. I'm not looking to destruct people. I'm here to build people up. And you should too as an adult learner. Okay. You must also make sure that you're responding promptly to emails, messages, and other communications. You'll see that we use the platform quite regularly. You'll notice that once a week you'll get a reminder that your work is due in so many days. I'll show an example of what it looks like on the platform so that you can see. And then, you must collaborate with your classmates. You must collaborate with your facilitators, with your instructors, and so forth. Okay. And then make sure that you're meeting the quality requirements. Submit good work so that it makes our jobs easier. I'd prefer if learners didn't use AI softwares, in their approach to answering the questions. You can write your answers and then use AI to improve it. That is fine. As long as the initial IP is yours, then it's perfectly fine. But if you're literally going to put all the questions into GPT and then copy and paste them across, then you're just wasting your time. You're wasting my time. We'll probably detect it, and you'll get in trouble for it. And if you get in trouble for it too many times, we'll remove you from the program. So just make sure that you're providing quality work that belongs to you. Also, don't copy and paste from websites or the web browser. Like it's quite obvious. We'll notice that in the font changes. So yeah, just make sure that it's your work and submit quality. Don't waste time. Okay. And this is also, we'll speak to our policies that we have. So remember, we have all sorts of policies in place that speak to academic integrity. We talk about attendance requirements. We also talk about the respect of IP. So if you utilize our material for anything other than completing this course, we will take legal action. We have a team of lawyers that are on standby for that sort of thing. If you ever want more information about what you could do, what the possibilities are, then ask us, let us know, and then we can give you proper advice. But don't do something thinking that it's going to be okay, and then and then it's not and you didn't check with us. Okay. And then also put in the work. So remember, we work iteratively. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a personal some personal insight into how I've approached learning and how it's worked for me. So in 2022, I started a master's qualification, and I'm at the tail end of it now. But one of the things I did was I decided to change my approach because I was doing well. I mean, I was an average 68% student, but I wanted to push the envelope. I thought, like, if I'm going to do a master's, I'm committing to this life of education. I might as well lean all the way into it. So what I did is, instead of waiting for deadlines, which is what I normally did, I promise you I was a last minute student, I decided that I'm going to start working an hour every day, and hopefully it would make due dates a lot easier and I could stress less about them. So what I did is I started working an hour every day on whatever assignment was due most recently at that time. And what I saw is when the due dates came around, I wasn't stressed at all. I'd submitted before, I was submitting on the day, I was doing the last few things on the assignment. The other thing I'd noticed was my results went up drastically because I wasn't working under pressure anymore. I wasn't putting so much anxiety, so much angst into the papers that I was doing. So I became I mean, for some of the lowest mark I got for the masters was a 71%. I did argue with the lecturer though for that one, because we had differing ideas about what should be, how the question should be approached. The highest result I got on one of the modules was 100%. So just to show you that if we adjust your approach and you commit yourself to the program, you can really get some good results. And I hope that you see or you use this learning opportunity. Sorry, you use this learning opportunity to experiment with your learning styles so that you can see what works for you, develop new study habits. And then once you've done that, you can take your learning styles and your study habits and you can take it to the next qualification. And you'll find that your learning becomes a lot easier, and it's a lot more manageable because you've developed a style and approach that works for you. Sometimes you'll go to a new place where they have a different way they deliver the content and it might not always plug into how you learn. But that's good. That means you're put in a corner, you're in a place of discomfort. And when we're uncomfortable, we're learning. That's what it's about. Okay. So I want you to, develop an academic appetite, and develop academic work ethic, so that you start getting used to this thing about working an hour a day on your personal studies. Remember, you're not doing it so that you can reap the reward today. We're doing it for tomorrow. As the quote says, Malcolm X's quote that, If we plan for tomorrow today, we'll really get the benefit of tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, let me keep going. So I think I went, yeah, okay. So the role of the facilitators slash lecturers, we, use that title interchangeably. But it's used to, we're there to guide discussions, provide support. We're there to foster engagement. We want to ensure that you grasp key concepts. We also want to make sure that we encourage critical thinking, and then we'll monitor your progress. We'll also do our best to empower you to succeed in this program. Okay, and then it's very important to note that a facilitator, when we facilitate, it means that we just make the process clear. We make sure that it runs smoother. Okay, a lot of people confuse facilitators and lecturers with teachers, and there's a very big difference between those two different titles. Okay, remember that there's a difference between how adult learners learn and how children learn. So when children learn, or it's the practice of pedagogy, there are many different theories that fall into that space, but it's normally conditioning. So you'll see that children are conditioned to, be at school at a certain time. They have a very strict routine. They have their lunch at a certain time. They have, their breaks. They have subjects at certain times. That's conditioning. They're taught to behave a certain way so that when they finish with school, they know how to operate within society as a normal citizen of that particular country or state. When it comes to adult learning, it's considered the practice of andragogy, which is where we look at different adult learning habits and how adults learn best. And you'll see that it's a lot more liberating. We're not about conditioning. We're all about taking ideas and thinking about them, mapping them out, and exploring them in different contexts. And it's a lot more liberal, a lot more free. Well, the only real parameters we set is we set deadlines. So we'll say that this assignment's due on this date, but how you approach is completely up to you. You can start with the last question and work your way up to the top. You can, the type of content you can use, the examples you can use, it's all up to you. And it's a lot more liberating, a lot more liberal. And that's the key thing. And as a facilitator, we're not here to condition you. So we're not going to treat you like babies. We're not going to baby you at all. In fact, we'll give you the things that you need, and we'll try and make the activities as easy as possible. We'll try and make sure that the process runs as smoothly as possible, and we'll give you that guidance and support along the way. But we're not going to treat you like babies. That's not how it works. Okay, unfortunately. So don't think of your facilitator as a teacher. We're not. We're not teachers at all. In fact, to be a teacher, you need to be qualified as a teacher. And teachers are for the lower grades, for your, kids, the young individuals that need conditioning. Lecturers are there to guide, support, to make easier, to kind of provide that additional assistance. Okay, there's a key difference in that. Okay, the role of the coordinators would be to manage the program execution. They're there for program oversight. They're also instructor liaison, so they'll communicate with facilitators. They'll also communicate, with the learners. Typically, we only really bring our coordinators in if there's trouble, between the facilitator and the learner. So the facilitator can't reach the learner, for example. But they're there for that. They're also there for learner support. So if you ever have any issues, any troubles, you can always reach out to your coordinator. And then they're there to assist with progress monitoring. So they often help with checking what the submission rates are for the learners, and they help us with our reporting to clients. Okay. Remember, this program is sponsored, so you're fortunate enough because you're not paying for it. We can actually talk about it now. Does anyone want to take a guess in terms of what it costs to do this qualification? What was paid so that you can do it? Yes? Boitu Shoko. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Sorry, it's Grant van Staden using Bochoko's device. I put that in the comments. We've been advised on what the value is at 68,000 Rand per delegate.
Oh, wow. Who told you?
The coordinator.
Yeah, she gives away my tricks there, hey? Okay, that's fine. 100% correct. The qualification costs 68,000 per person. The sponsors paid that for you. Okay, they do it for CRS, so that's their corporate social responsibility, or CSR, sorry. And you get the benefit of it, but just think about this, like you don't have to pay for it. It's an academic accredited qualification. You're not paying anything. The only thing you have to do is really capitalize on the opportunity. So do the work, because it's 68,000 Rand that you would have had to pay to do this qualification. Okay, it's actually unfortunate because I had a few individuals that asked me about this qualification before, and we didn't have any sponsors, that were willing to pay for them. And then they found other things to do, and then the sponsor popped up. So just keep that in mind, that this is what this is worth, and this is what's been provided to each and everyone on this qualification in this group. Okay, it's not a cheap process, it's not a cheap qualification. Okay, and then also, just to put my money where my mouth is, I'm also enrolled for this qualification. I know I've developed the material and whatnot. I will be assessed and moderated by other individuals, external individuals, but I also wanted the qualification. I wanted in my portfolio. I wanted to sit next to my masters, because it's of value. It will really help. So yeah, just to put my money where my mouth is. Okay. Let us keep going. So one of the key assessment principles we use at ROG is called VARCS. And literally VARCS, when we assess, we look at your answer and we try to determine whether it's valid. We try to determine whether it's authentic. We look at reliability, and then we also look at currency and sufficiency. Yeah, so what you'll see is getting marks for validity, authenticity, and reliability is quite easy. Where I normally penalize learners is sufficiency, okay, and also currency. Sometimes learners provide information that's old and it's not relevant anymore. I can't accept it, okay? Sufficiency. So sufficiency is interesting because I've noticed that a lot of learners think, oh, I'm not being sufficient enough, or they think that it's a 4-mark question, so I'm going to provide a 1-page answer. Okay, you can violate sufficiency in 2 ways. The first way is the obvious way. You provide too little information in your answers, which is a problem. You will easily get marked down, and the marker will say that you've violated sufficiency. Okay, the other way you can violate sufficiency is by providing too much information. So if you put for 4-mark question, you're putting a 1-page answer, we will complain and we'll say that this is 4 marks. All you needed to do was demonstrate your 4 points, get your 4 marks. Okay, think about it from that perspective. We do like that you write in essays, in an essay kind of approach, but we don't want a we don't want to we don't want a 1-page answer for 4-mark question. So if it's a 4-mark question, provide 1 paragraph as your answer. Think about it like that. Okay, and then also if you just provide bullet points, your answer normally lacks depth. It lacks that little bit of personal touch, personal flair. So you'll lose marks in terms of authenticity and reliability if you're just bullet pointing your answers to us. Okay, so it's very important you think about these things. Think about VARCs when you're answering your questions, because that's how we grade you. If you look at our memorandums, which is on all of the questions, every question is measured by VARCs. Okay. And then our assessment process, which is what I spoke about earlier. I thought it pops up earlier in my slides. It doesn't. It pops up late. But what you'll see, I must apologize, there is a mistake here, but it's fine. I'll go through it. So normally we do our class training. And in phase 1, you'll see the learner does the work. The facilitator gives feedback 1. So there are 3 opportunities for feedback, which means you can submit 3 times, which is normal. That's, as I said, you get 3 attempts. Normally learners are done with the first, they get things correct on the first submission. If they don't, it's the second one. Third submission is the last attempt, so if they get it wrong thereafter, they'll just be graded as NYC. But in the second phase normally happens while phase 1 is happening. It's kind of interlinked. You'll see that your assessor will start looking at the work and start assessing it. So there are 4 assessment dates that occur. So there are 4 times that your assessor looks at the portfolios and give you different grades. Doesn't give you grades, but they check what the facilitators graded you, and they make sure that the grading is fair. That's what I should say. So that happens 4 times. And then also, while the assessor is looking at it, a moderator will look at it immediately after. So this shouldn't say staff training, this should say moderation. And you'll see that the moderator also looks at it 4 times, so it's very similar to the assessor, also over a 1-year period. And then right at the end, when the training is done, your work will be sent to a CETA. So it serves the CETA for this qualification, and they're sent for external verification. So your CETAs will look at the work and they'll either certify, and they'll add validity to the qualification. So that they do what is called an EM, so it's external moderation. They go through everything, they look at it, and then if they're happy with it, they'll give us the final certification. If they're unhappy with it, they will not. They'll send it back and we must fix it. We have not had a project in many, many years. I'm talking, well, I've been with the organization for 8 years. We've never had a project sent back by a CETA at all to be fixed. At least none of mine. I mean, I don't know about the others, but none of the ones that have been under my umbrella have ever been sent back. Okay. And then because the seat is involved in this fourth phase, it's very important that there will be delays. I always tell learners, I give you a bit of a warning. And if I print the certificates here at my office, they're not legit, they're not valid. So if you need like some sort of proof that you've done the qualification, that you complete, I can always give you a letter with my name, my contact, and just state that you've done this qualification. These are the credits you're waiting to be verified on. But that's just the process. CETA is a government institution like any other. They have a high volume of training providers providing them with things that they have to verify, and the process takes a bit longer sometimes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And if you're frustrated at the end, you want your certificate, there's a process we need to follow. That certification is not always the easiest process to follow. But remember, if it's not easy, it's good. If everything was easy, everyone would have the qualification, and it makes it less valuable. So yes, it's difficult. Sometimes it's challenging to get feedback from them to get work out. But it's good because it means that you have something that's rare, something that's of value. Okay, are you all with me? Just give me a thumbs up. Just checking to see that we understand the process. Okay, Nicolene says yes. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, so then I just want to talk about appeals process. So as we go through your modules, you will be allowed to appeal. You will be, if you're not happy with how something was marked, you can always say, please remark this. We used to have an appeals form and an entire process that we follow. You see it's on the screen. So you'd normally request for submission, so of appeals form. Then we review it, and then we make a decision based on the application. And then we communicate the results and we follow up. Now, what I've done is I mean, we have the appeals process, but I don't formally use it unless it's really necessary. I've had learners that said, they're not happy with how certain things were marked, and I personally go in and I check to see what had happened. And if I feel like it's necessary, I'll fix it, or I'll tell the marker to remark everything. And that does happen. Remember, our team, we're human beings, mistakes happen. It's perfectly, it's normal. There's only so much you can do. But we do try to fix, we try to mitigate. So if you see something and you feel like this doesn't look right, I'm not happy with this, just drop me an email and we'll review it for you. And I'll, personally just oversee it to make sure that it's rectified and that everything is okay. It happens. I'm not going to lie to you and say we have a perfect system and the markers always, get it right every time. But they're human beings. And that's just the harsh reality of it. Okay. So now I just want to talk about our tools. So as we go into this next section, I just want to kickstart with a bit of a quote from Abraham Lincoln. So Abraham Lincoln says, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." So what this quote says is we're only as good as the tools we use. So that's why we try to optimize. We try to make sure we use very good tools. So you'll see that we use Outlook emails. We try to create email groups. But with with the Google platform, we don't necessarily need it. But we do have that as one of our resources. We do use it. We use Teams meetings. So as you can see, we're in the Teams meeting now. It's great. We like the features. We like how easy it is to set it up and how you can have external parties in sessions and all of that. And then we use Google Classroom, so I will show you before we hop off the session today what it looks like. I'll show you a group that's currently busy with their BA level 6 qualification, and then I'll show you what your designated classroom will look like on the platform, so you'll get a feel for it. But this is where you'll get access to all the materials. So we don't send things via email. We're not allowed to because it goes against our QMS policy. So we need to, all materials shared via the platform. You need to submit on that platform also, and then you'll be graded on the platform. Okay, it's very important that you are cautious about how you do it. So how it works is you can answer on the platform, and it will save your answers as you put them in. I know a lot of learners don't always have internet accessibility, especially when they're out of the office or they're at home. So what our students do there is they've downloaded copies of the work, and then they'll do it in their free time, or they'll do it when they're at home and they don't have internet access, and then they'll copy and paste the answers in back onto the platform. And that's very important. Okay. Because if you submit your document that you've downloaded and it's a Word document, we won't be able to mark it. We're only able to mark Google documents, so it must remain a Google Doc. Okay? If you're unfamiliar with these, you'll probably get very comfortable with it in this qualification, in the process of doing this qualification, and you'll learn a lot about the different tools, the different technologies that exist. Okay? You also note that we're using different tools. We didn't just go Google all the way, but we also didn't just go Microsoft all the way, because we want students to get comfortable using a wide array of tools and technologies. Okay, it's part of the experience, is getting comfortable using things that are different. Okay. And then I have expectations of learners again. So just embrace the technology, get comfortable using the various technologies. You're welcome to play around with it, get comfortable. We've had learners that would submit, as soon as they load it on the platform, they hit the hand in button just to see what it's like. And then we send it back to them and say, hey, it's a blank submission. So just rectify that. But yeah, so it's perfectly fine. I don't have any problems with people playing around with it, but just know that if you mess it up too much, you might be on a call with me later so we can fix it. Okay. But I do encourage that you explore, you experiment, you look at what the features are, the functionalities, you get creative about it. And if you ever get stuck, just seek support. Just reach out to me, reach out to the team, see how they can help you. Okay. And this is just a welcome, welcome to the BA Level 6 program. We're happy to have you. Yeah. It is a level 6 qualification. It's very high. So I hope that you're ready. I hope that you're ready. And just remember that this might be, towards the end of our induction session, but it is the beginning of something bigger, something greater. Okay, I want to just go to the platform before I end the session off. So do we have any questions before we move to the platform? Okay, I see that Tumelo's good. See, I see you're already using the emojis. That's exactly what I was talking about, using the emojis to communicate. Cordelia?
Thank you so much, sir. My question is just to check with you there that as we have connected, others are connecting from work, others are connecting from home. How are we gonna? Who's supposed to give us the data?
Who's
for
supposed
this
to
for
give
the
you
course?
the data?
Yeah.
And the course is sponsored, you know what I mean? I think we've done our part. If you spent a little bit of money on your education, it wouldn't harm, right? Do you think it's unreasonable that we expect the learners to pay for data?
Yes, I think so.
Ma'am, more than 60,000 has been sponsored for the program, so you can do the program. We found the sponsor, we're providing the material, the training, everything is from our side. The only thing you're required is to attend the classes and do the work. And the least you could do is buy data.
Yeah, that is why I was asking, because of it's not clear to say are we gonna be provided with the data or
No,
not?
you don't get data, you don't get laptops, you don't get any of that. Like you've gotten the qualification, you get the opportunity to do it, and it's accredited. I mean, unless going forward, because I get this question all the time, and it's really frustrating. But I think maybe I must change the process. Maybe I must start charging learners to do the course. Because when I feel like as an organization, we do the most. We get the sponsor. We get accredited. They pay me to do the training. They do everything. And all you have to do is attend the class, make the submission, and just make sure you have resources from your end to do so. Yeah, that's the minimum requirement from you. Just make sure you do the work and attend the classes. And if it means you buy data from your end, then so be it. Okay. Then Cordelia, do you have another question? I see you unmuted yourself. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is you'll see that in the chats, I'm going to share a link with you. So on this link, this is where you'll complete a form. It's a Google form. All you have to do is tell me your name, surname, and give me your email address. Now, I don't want work emails. Please don't give me a work email. I want Gmails. You must give me a Gmail account and make sure the Gmail account has space on the Google Drive. So if it's a Gmail account that you've used the Google Drive all the way, like there's no more free space, create a new Gmail account that you can use for classes, and don't forget the passwords because you're going to be using that throughout the course. Okay. And then put it on the form so that I can load you and link you to the platform. Okay. Once that is done, you'll get access. But if you use a Gmail account that doesn't have any space on the Google Drive, then it means you'll be linked, which is fine, but you won't be able to open the Google Documents to see your work because there's no space for the drive to save it. Because how it works is I post the work, I send you guys the assignments, and then you get it at your end and it's saved on your Google Drive. And then as you make edits, it saves there. And then when you submit it, it sends it back to me and it saves on my Google Drive. So you need to have space on your Google Drive so that it works. So if you think you don't have space, you're not certain about it, create a new Gmail account that you can use just for this class. And then when you're done with it, you can remove the account in a year's time. You won't need it anymore. Does that make sense? Okay, I see Lucky's happy. Okay, cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the classroom. Just want to show you a bit about the platform. So you'll see that we have our stream. Let me just zoom out a little more. So you'll see that we have our stream here. So it will look a little different from your side. You won't have the grades tab. You'll have stream, classwork, and then people. So what you'll see is the stream is where you'll get updates. So you'll get like, if anyone loads material in the system, you'll get a message that says, Carl Tischlauser has loaded this, yeah. And you'll be able to see it there. But if you want to go, you can go to the classwork itself. Now, you can see that all of it's gray. So none of it's been released yet because none of us are in the class. So once you're in the class and your first module has begun, you'll be able to access it here. So if I go and I open this, you'll see that there is a rubric, which is where you'll be graded. And then if I click on this, it will open the work. I see that someone has edited this. Okay, it's fine. I will fix it. I imagine there's answers in here too. Yeah, okay, I'll have to fix this material because it looks like someone has written in it, one of the internal staff members. But what you'll see is you'll have your questions, your answers, your questions, your answers. Let me open another version. Hopefully, I just want to check this while I'm here. Let me just check to see if this was also edited. Okay, yeah, this is your summative. The summative wasn't edited. So you have your question, you have your answer, your mark allocations there. So we'll grade every question as you go through. So and then you can always download it. So you can always say download or make a copy, download, yeah, download as a Word document. And then once you're done, you can answer, and then you can open both and copy and paste your answers back into this platform. As long as we have your answers in the Google Doc, then we're able to mark it. But if you submit it as a Word document, we will struggle to mark it. Okay, then you'll see you have workplace projects here. This will be covered in tomorrow's session. So there is a class tomorrow with Brian. You'll see that there are requirements to do. Yeah. Okay, and it will be explained in depth, in more depth. Yeah, let me also show you. So I'll show you what it looks like when you're in an active group. So what we do is we use the stream you'll see that we'll post countdowns to due dates. So we'll say there's 21 days and then there'll be 28 the week before. And then the other thing we do is we post top performers in the group. So we try to celebrate success that way. And then we have groups that are competing with each other. So there's that. And then when the material is released, you'll see that it will have the color, it will be blue. And you'll be able to access, and we'll also be able to see who's submitted and who's been graded and who's not graded yet. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of the platform for now. I just want all of you to complete the link in the chat so that I can get your Gmail accounts. Make sure that the Google Drive has space on it so that when you open your work, it won't be a problem. And then just prepare for tomorrow's session. Okay. Do you have any other questions, any other queries that we must deal with before we hop off? Let me just go back to the slides. Okay, if you're all good, just give me a thumbs up. Tumelo says good. Okay, Lucky, good. Okay, McShedsy's good, I think. Nick is good. Grant is good. Is it? Yeah, Grant. Okay, great. Great stuff. There's someone's hands up. McShedsy, do you have a question? Okay, it seems we don't have any more questions. So I'm gonna end the session off there then. Okay, brilliant. Please all be present for class tomorrow. Module 1 begins tomorrow. So be ready, be sharp, make sure you have your coffee, tea, take your vitamins, and be ready to do some work.
I don't know.
Rashuma?
Yeah, Carl.
Hi.
Yes, is there any register where you can sign?
We'll take register off of the report that's generated from this meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, Tumelo.
Thank
you,
you.
Lucky.
Thank you.
Jacobs, your hands up.
No, I just say